Hello and good Saturday evening filled with severe thunderstorm warnings across the Texas and Oklahoma states right now. Really, I can't even say like the western side or the central. We've got them all over the place. Here, let me show you your map right now. There is GR Earth giving you a look at the last 4 hours. Here's what we saw. The first few storms that were warned were out in Texas. And right off the bat, they were warned for ping pong ball, golf ball size hail. And we did see a few reports down in Texas. There's $half-dollar size hail down in Texas. Let's see, what do we have? Golf ball size hail. Reports down in Mingus and Gordon. And then it just seemed like storms in Oklahoma took their sweet time firing. We had a destructive tag on this storm for golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds. So all of this again to the west and south of DFW, and these storms continued in Dallas until we finally got one little storm up in Oklahoma, but it took a while until the storms finally popped up in more places and then went severe. And it seemed like once it went severe, it was just one after the other that was going severe. And now we have 3 different places that we're watching for storms in Oklahoma, and we have 2 different places that we are watching for storms down in Texas. And oop, there is our first 2-incher of the night. Just came in just about 10 minutes ago out in Comanche County, Texas, in Dublin. 2-inch size hail just to the southwest of Dallas. So put your questions in the comments section. Okay, I've got some people on here. Let's see, I can see your comments if I pull up this right here. Myron says, I'm heading way west of Cleburne right now, and you've got one. Okay, yes, so those storms, hang on, let me situate my screen real quick. And we'll pull GR Earth back up here. So let me show you what's going on right now. We talked about what went on over the last few hours, last 4 hours here. What do we see right now? Golf ball size hail from this storm that's in Tabler right now. I think that's how you say that. Golf ball size hail moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. So this storm has picked up some speed, and it was recently reported by local emergency management. So we do have that confirmed tag, which is why this severe thunderstorm warning is outlined in black right here, and it's not as a thin yellow line as these other ones are. That usually means that it is either the destructive tag on it or it's a confirmed sighting of large hail, and it looks like these are both confirmed sightings. So we have had golf ball size hail reported in both Chickasha and out in Bray, Oklahoma. So this is just south of Oklahoma City. However, Oklahoma City is now included in that severe thunderstorm warning. That goes until 10:30. So we've got another 26 minutes on that warning right now. So put your questions in the comments section, and we will get to that here in just a few minutes. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that we've seen on social media so far tonight from some of these storms, and then we will get to your questions. Rachel on here saying hi. Evan saying where around DFW for hail. So the storms are to the west of DFW right now, south and west right now. They will move into Dallas here in the next few hours. We actually have one popping up right now right outside, basically in Fort Worth. Here, let's actually pop down to Fort Worth right now. This one is in Haslett with ping pong ball size hail, Haslett and Keller. Now it's moving away, it's moving into Denton right now, but that is just outside of DFW proper. And then you've got these storms down here, which are taking a little bit of a right turn, not necessarily going to the north and east anymore, but really taking more of an easterly turn here. And we do have some really solid large hail in here as well. And this is going over towards like the Cleburne, Hillsborough area. Glen Rose is included in this. Let's see, how fast are we moving with this storm right here? moving about 30 miles an hour. So not a fast mover. Actually, a lot of these are not fast movers tonight. You know, if you get over about 45, 60 miles an hour, those are fast movers. But these 25, 35 mile per hour moving storms are not terribly fast here. What other questions do we have? Kansas City. So that first round in Kansas City didn't do too much. We finally got a severe thunderstorm warning just to the north of Kansas City with some quarter-sized hail. Now, this is something that we talked about earlier today whenever we talked about those storms in Kansas City with that lower risk. We expected larger hailstones, but then we looked at models today and we said, you know what? I don't think that's going to happen. We brought those hail sizes down up in Kansas City, and then we increased hail sizes in this area from the southern portion of Kansas, like southeastern Kansas, all the way down into Tulsa and into Oklahoma City. And that's exactly what we're seeing. I mean, I didn't think it would go this far south into Oklahoma. A lot of people were saying, you know, leave this area out of that large hail risk. And I'm glad that we did end up including it because we went all the way down to Dallas with this. And I'm glad that we did because obviously you are seeing those larger hailstones falling just to the southwest of Oklahoma City right now. All righty, reading through some of your questions here. What areas in Oklahoma have the highest risk for 1.5 or larger size hail? So we kind of talked about that just a minute ago, but I can show you once again. Anywhere, I think, I'd go just in the southeastern side of Kansas, draw a line, including Oklahoma City right here, and then all the way down into Texas. I mean, really, if it's in a watch right now, it probably has a pretty good chance for some large hail. I wouldn't include some of these far eastern communities over here. I'd take McAllister out of that, leave Ada in, take Muskogee out of that high hail risk as well, leave Tulsa in that high hail risk. So if you can kind of imagine that very, very narrow corridor of storms that could get some large hail this evening. And really, we're watching for two areas right now. We've got a line of storms down in Texas. That's one area that we're watching for storms. And I guess you could split Oklahoma up into 3 different areas for storms. You've got this line that goes anywhere from Winfield, Kansas, all the way down to Enid, okay? You're going to see a few severe thunderstorm warnings every now and then here. You've got another line, and if you watch the motion of these storms, let's see if we can go fast here, get through some of these. This goes back 4 hours, so we have to wait for these storms to pop up. Okay, right here. So this is moving to the northeast, but kind of an easterly track there as well. And then we're watching for these storms down that are moving into Oklahoma City. So that's really what's going to impact a lot of people here, not only Oklahoma City, but we've got Norman, Moore, Edmond included in these storms that have had a history of producing large hail. Golf ball size hailstones reported already in Chickasha and in Bray, Oklahoma, and in Duncan, Oklahoma. So just watching these storms here. Any other questions before we move on? Anything about Omaha? Yeah, Omaha, that initial round of storms up in Omaha, it didn't look really too impressive. I think that we got maybe a quarter-size hail report out of this. Let me see what we ended up getting up in, and I think it was just to the south of Omaha. Yeah, like Nebraska City. That was another place that we kept saying, you know, the risk is not going to be terribly impressive in this area. It was going to be very isolated with maybe quarter-size hail. Yeah, and that's what we saw. Nebraska City is where we saw that quarter-size hail, or just to the south of the city is what we saw there. Now that storm has moved into Iowa. Oh, we got another one, quarter-size hail in Tarkio. I hope that's how you say it. That would be the northwestern side of Missouri there. And as we go throughout the rest of the night, that storm is now unwarned in Atlantic all the way to Bedford, Iowa. Iowa was another place that we were not expecting strong storm. Well, we were not expecting too many severe storms, maybe some strong ones, but not anything terribly, nothing with terribly large hail tonight. But yeah, that main risk that we're watching for right now is coming up the I-44 corridor into Oklahoma City as we speak. So here's what we can do. We can go to the ODOT cameras. And let's see if we can watch this storm come in. Ooh, yeah, we've got some lightning. Alrighty. Now, I'll tell you, in Oklahoma City, the Thunder game just got out, so hopefully everyone was able to get home from the game in time for these storms to come in. Alrighty, I'll show you traffic cameras right now. You can see the lightning in the background here. Some really good lightning out there. This is as far south as we can go on their ODOT cameras. I think we can go out to the west, though. Let's see if we can get storms out in western Oklahoma. They're a little too far west. We cannot see those storms out in western Oklahoma. Okay, we have a few questions about a future cast here. What are we expecting over the next few hours? One question in particular about Tyler, Texas. So let's get down into Dallas. Let's pull up Tyler, Texas here. And let's talk timeline. There we go. There's your timeline. So we've got your future radar pulled up, and we're going to zoom down into Texas slowly but surely as this loads into place. You guys kind of know how this goes here. There we go. Alrighty. Here's Dallas. So here we are at 10:30 tonight. So another 20 minutes, you're going to start to see those storms moving into Fort Worth. Dallas, for all of you DFW folks watching right now, I'll pause this right here. These storms, again, are not moving terribly fast. So right around midnight is whenever you'll see them transition from Fort Worth into Dallas. And then as we head into the overnight hours, by about 1, 2 o'clock, you will be severe clear. And I'm checking with my timeline that I gave you earlier today. Earlier today, I said 11 to 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what I said. The storms will be coming into DFW, and it looks like we're right on track to see that happen. I always like it whenever I'm right. But for Tyler, Texas, are they going to withhold their strength? Are they going to stay strong as we head into the overnight hours? Because the timing for Tyler right now is going to be after 2 a.m. until about maybe 4 in the morning, and it looks like you're not going to have terribly strong storms at that time. A lot of this energy will be used up as we head into the early morning hours. I think by about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, we will see these storms start to really decrease, and that chance for severe weather, for large hail, we're going to see that chance decrease into the early morning hours. But then if we zoom out, if we take this, and you're going to have to bear with me while you see some of the insides to our screen here, or our graphics system. But I'm going to change the camera view. And we will quickly talk about storms that we're expecting for tomorrow, and then we'll go back to the radar and we'll talk about those storms that are happening right now. But what we're watching for tomorrow is just another round of storms. So it's it's going to be like a rinse and repeat, where we see storms once again firing up in the late morning, early afternoon hours, and continuing through the overnight hours. So there's those storms anywhere from Wichita all the way down to south of Dallas. And this is a little wonky here. Let me see if I can fix what you guys are seeing right now. I think I can. Okay, you guys are going to see. There we go. That looks a lot better, right? You can see the entire thing now. Okay, so we're moving through here, but 2:30 in the morning, storms are moving into Tulsa. The timeline that I had earlier was from about midnight to 3 a.m. But you're going to see those storms die out in the overnight hours, but then pick back up late tomorrow morning into the early afternoon. Watch this line of storms form. We've got St. Louis, Chicago. Watch this line of storms form into Memphis, all the way down into Louisiana, and even the eastern side of Texas. We're expecting storms to form into the late night hours tomorrow night and into early tomorrow morning. So Tyler, Texas, you may have another chance late tomorrow night, and that, according to this future radar here, will happen after 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And then you'll be severe clear by about midnight. So you have two chances here, and I'm really expecting tomorrow to be more of a promising chance for you. Yeah, I think that tomorrow you could get a better chance for storms than what you see today. Alrighty, what other questions do we have? We do have some pictures in from social media, and if you guys have any pictures as we get these storms tonight, feel free to send them in to us. Cole asks, are you still thinking that this will hit Tulsa? Yes, I'm wondering how much these storms are going to stay together as they track up the Turner Turnpike, because what you're seeing right now, and let me go back. Do we still see lightning out in the distance here? Yeah, there's some lightning out there. Oh yeah. So these are the storms that are moving into Oklahoma City right now. But as we go back to our radar, you can see that these storms really have a direct path to Tulsa. So, I mean, what they're moving at right now is what? 45 miles an hour, and they are, let's see, about 100 miles from Tulsa right now. At 45 miles an hour, you've got a little over 2 hours until you see those storms in the Tulsa metro. So give it about 2 hours. What did that, I said in my timeline earlier, I said midnight to 3 a.m. So it's about right, midnight to 3 a.m. And you will see storms in Tulsa tonight. So let's take a look at what the National Weather Service is saying about this storm. Ooh, we have upgraded the severe thunderstorm warning to now tennis ball size hail. Hail near the size of a tennis ball was recently reported in Tuttle. So that would be one of these, maybe this one, golf ball size hail. Well, maybe they must not have the report on here yet. So they must be referring to a report that they'll have pop up here. Tennis ball size hail reported in Tuttle. So yes, they have increased that warning here in Oklahoma, just to the southwest of Oklahoma City right now. Tuttle is not too far outside of Oklahoma City at all. I mean, we are talking about 20 miles as the crow flies outside of Oklahoma City. So not too far at all. Mustang, definitely the Oklahoma City metro. So these storms coming into Mustang, Oklahoma right now with potentially tennis ball size hail moving in right now. This is moving to the north and northeast at about 45 miles an hour. And you may be getting a WIA to your phone. You know that loud noise that makes that like an Amber Alert? A lot of times whenever we get up to tennis ball size hail in a populated area and we know that it's confirmed from something like a local emergency management, maybe a police officer, then they will issue that WIA to your phone so that people know to get inside. Because once we get up to tennis ball size hail, that's whenever it starts to be very, very dangerous to be outside. in this storm. So let's adjust our ODOT view right now. Oh, did we lose our camera or our radar? Okay, there we go. Let's move over to the west just a bit. We've got lots of lightning in this area. You can see those. The lightning is flashing. Oh yeah, lots of lightning. Just kind of watching this storm come in right now. We are in just outside of Mustang with this camera view. I wonder if we could get a south camera view on here. Let's see if we can see any lightning on this one as well. Oh yeah, lots of lightning coming into the metro right now. And as we said earlier, we are watching for tennis ball size hail with this storm. That's the storm that we're watching for. That one in the middle of your screen right there. But I can give you kind of around the radar, show you what we're seeing in the rest of Oklahoma right now. O'Keene right now, this storm is warned for quarter-sized hail, moving to the northeast at 25 miles an hour. Again, some of these are slow movers right here. This one, much faster in Oakwood, moving at 55 miles an hour to the northeast with potentially quarter-sized hail. And another one moving into Weatherford right now with 60 mile per hour wind and up to quarter-sized hail. This on the far backside of Purdy, so on the far backside of this storm that's moving into Purcell, just right behind it in Purdy, this is warned for $half size hail, and it looks like it is confirmed by someone. It doesn't say who, but it does look like at some point that high hail or that large hail was confirmed. What other questions do we have? Buzzy asks, tornado time in Oklahoma. Nothing tornado warned right now. It's large hail. And I mean, it's large hail galore, not just in Oklahoma, just south of Oklahoma City, but also just outside of DFW. So we've got that large hail reported out in Proctor, Texas, 2-inch size hail from Proctor, Texas, Stephenville, and then this one a little bit closer to Fort Worth, up to ping pong ball size hail in Hazlet. And I do have some hail pictures. I think I mentioned that earlier, and I did never show those hail pictures. So let's take a look at that. This one is out of Chickasha. Show you here. And again, these are on social media, so we appreciate everyone posting their photos on social media and tagging us in those photos and responding to our questions on social media. So this one's in Chickasha. Looks like, yeah, some nice golf ball or slightly larger than golf ball size hail there out of Chickasha. What other ones do we have here? Duncan, Oklahoma, with a hailstone just a bit larger than an inch. This one coming in from John Murrow. Thanks for posting that, John Murrow. A mixture of nickels, quarters, and a few $half to ping pong ball size hail is what they are reporting in Duncan this evening. And they said that it went from pea size to bigger than a quarter in just seconds. Yeah, that's what happens. And some of these storms are going to be so loud. You're going to hear them, and they're going to be so loud. Quarter size hail in Chickasha. Yeah, we're getting reports of even larger hail in Chickasha. So some people are reporting quarter size, others much larger. much larger than a quarter, closer to a golf ball or even larger than that. So let's go back to the maps here. Ooh, we do have that large hail has been confirmed in Bridge Creek. Let me pull this up for you. 2.5 inches in size just outside of Bridge Creek. So this is reported by an emergency manager in the area. Bridge Creek looks like we got tennis ball size hail. So we'll watch these storms move in here. And now they're getting even closer to some of our ODOT cameras. So let's see if we can go back to some of those ODOT cameras and take a look at this storm. No rain on our cameras quite yet, but we are getting very, very close. Actually, we may have some rain on this camera. Okay, let's switch over here. See if we can bring this down a little bit for you guys. There we go. That's a lot better. So yeah, we are getting some rain in this area. It looks like no one's flashing their lights yet. Usually whenever we start to see flashing lights, you know, whenever you put your hazards on, that's a great indicator for either some really, really heavy rain or some hail or even some high wind. So that's a great indicator. I can pull up our more very specific radars. I didn't do that earlier because we were looking at such a wide view across not only Oklahoma, but also Texas and portions of Missouri. But I can do that now. Let's pull those up. Alrighty, so we've got our terminal radar turned on right here. So this is TOKC, and what we can do is we can put this on 4 different panels, and we can choose each different panel. So what do we want over here? We want storm relative velocity. The first thing that I see from our storm relative velocity, SRV, is that we have this S-shaped. Do you see this? Between where the green and the reds are, we have this S-shaped in here. And what that can tell us, especially on the east side of this radar, is that we've got some really decent shear out there. This tells us just right off the bat, what I can tell you is that we've got some really good shear in the atmosphere right now. And an easy way to tell that is because we see this little S shape on the radar there, but that's not what we got on here to do. Okay, what else do we want to see on here? We've got VIL, V-I-L, a great indicator of hail. And what we could also put on here is either normalized rotation, or we can put correlation coefficient if we switch over to our other radar. Or we could do yeah, we'll just keep it with normalized rotation right now. Not a ton of rotation with these storms. I'm not terribly worried about these storms producing a tornado right now, but some large hail is most likely possible. Most likely promising, we'll say that. So this storm is most likely to hit the west side of the city, or currently hitting the west side of the city. It'll go up through Bethany, the Village. The Village is a place that got hit earlier, just about 6 months ago, back in, I want to say it was September. Edmond is all included in this severe thunderstorm warning. This is warned for ping pong ball sized hail moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour. And let's switch over actually to our other radar here, and we'll just kind of go back and forth between these two radars. So this is our KTLX radar, just a different radar. One's terminal, one's KTLX. Tons of lightning with this storm, absolutely tons of lightning. I'm surprised I can't hear it out my door right now. Anyway, moving to our KTLX radar, you can pull up your full 4 panels right here. Now this one allows us to see a few different things that we couldn't see with terminal. One of those includes correlation coefficient. We can see that our correlation coefficient is starting to drop out here. The lower those numbers go, the higher likelihood that we have for some pretty decent hail in these areas. And then I also like to look at KDP sometimes as well. KDP also showing us that we have some larger hailstones. KDP will either show extremely heavy rain or large hailstones, and whenever we start to see correlation coefficient dropping out, that means that we probably have some pretty large hailstones in this as well. So again, this is just to the north of Mustang, crossing over I-40 right now, headed up in towards Bethany on the west side of Oklahoma City. This is a great time to change our ODOT camera view. What's the best one here? This is a pretty decent view. So I'll give you an idea of where we are. We are just to the west of Oklahoma City, exactly where the storm is hitting right now. And if you look to the north, there's not much to see. This is really focused on the road here. However, if you look to the south, you can see a storm off in the distance, and then we've also got rain coming down right here, and we've got a ton of lightning happening. If we look to the west, what do we see? Too much going on. And to the east, not too much going on. We can go a little bit farther in town here. Tons of water on the roadways here. However, again, I don't see those flashing lights, which makes me think that people aren't too impacted by this storm. This is looking to the north. Looking to the south. I am starting to hear some thunder right now. There's those hazards. We've got flashing lights. There's your hazard lights right there. So anytime that we see this, it often means that we have some sort of extreme weather impact out there. Let's see what people are stopping on the highway for something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But I will tell you that one of the most dangerous places to stop during a thunderstorm is under these overpasses. They tell you over and over and over, do not stop under the overpasses. It causes a lot of issues on the highway. Potentially I don't know what that backup on the highway was for, but do you guys see that? Well, they're starting to move now. We saw a ton of backup right there. Okay, we'll go back to some of the questions here as we watch this storm moving into Oklahoma City right now. So again, warned for, warned for ping pong ball size hail just in the western side of the city. Headed into Bethany, eventually going into the village as we speak. And I'm looking to see if there's any storms directly behind it. It looks like this is the only one for a little bit, but you do have to keep an eye on this line of storms that will probably only be warned for quarters. I'm not terribly worried about these storms farther back to the west here that are moving into places like, I bet this is right around Hinton. Yeah, so moving into Weatherford right now. About to move into Hinton within the next 30 minutes here. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 10:45, and I'm not terribly worried about this storm, but if you are going to get out and check the roofs, check the cars, see what the impacts from this storm is, you only have a little bit until this next one comes in. and this will come in, it'll move to the west, or excuse me, move from the west to the east, and we could see this extend a little bit farther to the south, so we'll see how much more development we get on this line of storms that's out to the west. Again, I'm not terribly worried about the hail size here. However, it will bring some heavy rainfall to the city once again. And then, of course, we've got these storms down in Purcell and Pauls Valley, and these are warned for quarter-size hail. So the most impressive storm that we have moving through Oklahoma right now is moving through the metro in Oklahoma City. All righty, moving back to our GR3, because we have had some questions about Texas. So I want to zoom out here, get out of Oklahoma City, and I want to go down into Texas. One of the questions that we had asked were any confirmed hail in Texas. Yes, there was confirmed hail in Texas. I want to go back a few hours here so I can really give you a full look at what we've seen over the last few hours. Actually, Texas really kicked everything off for us. These storms out by Santo and these storms out by Owens, Lake Brownwood, this is what kicked everything off for us earlier on tonight. We had $half size, golf ball size hail out in Gordon. Then as we progressed throughout the rest of the night, these storms kind of trained on each other. We saw a left split in here somewhere. We had another $half size hail report. What else did we see tonight? This one was a hailer as well that moved into Dublin, Stephenville. I think that we got a report out of that. Oh yeah, just to the south of Stephenville, we got a 2-inch hail size in here. More closer to Fort Worth, we have quarter size and ping pong ball size hail in Hazlet. So these are all what's confirmed from the National Weather Service. Now, Hail Trace does this thing where we look all over social media. We scour social media. We scour a lot of the different sites that you all may not even know that people post their pictures on, right? And we look and we see what can we confirm. And we spend hours actually doing this. We'll do this tomorrow as well. We'll spend days doing this, and then we'll put them on the website. We'll put them on the app. So whenever you look at this hail swath, you don't only see what the National Weather Service reported, but also what we have found online. And we do that so that you don't have to do that, so that you can go out here and you know exactly what fell and what is confirmed. What other questions do we have here? Pilot Point, Texas. You guys are going to make me get out my Google Maps to see where is Pilot Point, Texas. Oh, it's just to the north of Fort Worth. Okay, so you guys are getting storms right now, right? In Pilot Point, Texas. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So your risk right now in Pilot Point, Texas, just to the north of, how far out are you from Grapevine, Texas? I know there's Gainesville. I know this area really well because we drive through here all the time. Going to Dallas. So your biggest risk right now in Pilot Point, Texas will be for up to ping pong ball size hail and strong wind up to 60 miles an hour. This severe thunderstorm warning is moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. And then this one to the north, closer to Gainesville, also $half size hail and 60 mile per hour wind, moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. Once they become really clustered like this, it's really hard to get large hail out of these storms. It's really hard. You know, whenever you get more of these isolated storms that are moving through Oklahoma City right now, it's a lot easier to get larger hail. So if these storms could stay isolated and not as clustered, you're going to keep seeing those larger hailstones. A new report just coming in here, Purcell at golf ball size hail. It doesn't say who reported it. Purcell, Oklahoma, just to the south of Norman by maybe about 20 minutes, getting golf ball size hail. Alrighty, what other questions do we have? Mustang, larger than quarter size hail. We're getting, honestly, what we're watching for right now is just some pictures that I'm getting into my chats because we live in Oklahoma. We have a ton of these chats, a ton of people out here that will send us updates and pictures and everything. So Mustang getting just larger than quarter size hail here, probably closer to the size of a golf ball. And that is right here. Here's Mustang. And that would be this storm right there moving through Mustang. Let's see what else. What other reports do we have? Smaller than the size of a quarter, reported by dime size hail here. Now this new severe thunderstorm warning coming in from the National Weather Service for the storm that's moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour has lost a lot of that wind, that strong wind, just not here. Quarter size hail is all that it's warned for right now, so it does look like it's starting to fall apart. And what we're going to see for the rest of the evening in Oklahoma will now be that high wind. I think that hail risk is going to go down after this storm moves into or through Oklahoma City. So if you're looking for Oklahoma City proper, these storms farther back to the west will probably make it into the city. However, the high wind will be right around 60 miles an hour. The hail size on the smaller side, think about golf balls, $50 size hail. We can go back to our ODOT cameras and take a look at what we're seeing across the city right now. We're kind of getting out of the area to watch ODOT cameras. Let's see. Yeah. This isn't the heaviest rain that we have, but we have something. You can see heavy rain falling from the street lights over here. We've got heavy rain coming over the bridge right now, but this is not the area of most concern. If you go a little bit farther west than this is whenever you're going to see the area of most concern.
Yes.
Alrighty, what other questions do we have? Where is everyone watching from tonight? Are most people in Oklahoma? We've got a lot of Texas on here. We talked about Pilot Point, Texas earlier. We had a question about Wichita, Granbury, Texas, DFW, Kansas City. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. You know, that's what you get whenever you work from home, right? It's a Saturday evening, I'm working from home, and sometimes you gotta go corral the dog. Anthony asks, currently in Georgia, driving to Michigan. What a drive. How's the weather look on the road? It depends on how fast you drive. If you are going to be out in this tomorrow, you could run into those storms early tomorrow morning in St. Louis. I guess you'd be farther east than that. Here, let's pull up the maps. Let's do a little forecast. Alrighty. So you said Georgia. It depends on your timing here. You're going to have to be really careful with that timing. You're probably going to get rain at some point in the drive. There is a lot of rain in your path from Tennessee to Kentucky, all the way to Ohio, early tomorrow morning. Your severe timeline here, you're probably going to be severe clear. I bet that you'll drive faster than these storms get there. Depends on how committed you are to not taking stops, not taking breaks, where you're going to stop at. Oh, questions about Chicago getting hit. Great question. But yeah, the storms coming into places like Indiana, Ohio, Michigan on that northern side of your drive are going to hit tomorrow right around 6:30 to midnight. So if you can beat those storms by about 6:30 tomorrow, then you could stay ahead of the severe weather at least. Here's a question about Chicago. Anthony says driving through the night. So you should be ahead of those storms. Carly asks about Chicago. Timeline for Chicago will be into the afternoon hours tomorrow, right around 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow, and then severe clear by 7 o'clock. So right around dinner time is whenever you're expecting storms into Chicago. Andrew's asking about Dallas, so asking about that Cleburne storm. Let's go back, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. Is it Cleburne? Down here. You know what? I'm actually going to pull up an actual radar, not just composite radar here. Do what the real meteorologists do and look at all of our different products here. Alrighty. No, yeah, we still have some hail in the storm right here near Walnut Springs. I mean, we just got a report in Stevenson of half-dollar size hail. Just over to Dallas and Fort Worth here. So I'll zoom out, show you guys where we are. Here's Dallas, or here's Fort Worth. Here's Dallas. Here's Fort Worth. Here's the storm that we just were referring to, just outside of Cleburne. In Glen Rose, Walnut Springs, headed into Cleburne right now. It probably still has some pretty decent hail with it. I would say up to the size of a ping pong ball, and it is moving to the north and east about 20 miles an hour, so it's slowed down a little bit. Anytime we see these storms slow down a little bit, it tells me that you're probably going to get not only a lot of hail, but it may be on the smaller side. Over. Correlation coefficient not looking great in terms of needing, if you want larger hail, you need these correlation coefficient numbers to drop out a little bit more. Right about here, we want those blues to start popping up. Kane is asking, better chances of hail in Kansas City or Tulsa? Tulsa. I think that you're going to have better chances for hail in Tulsa. But it really depends on what happens in Oklahoma City right now, because you can see, switch over here. You see these storms here in Oklahoma City, if they can stay pretty isolated, like this one, and this one's not too impressive. This one right here, I think that if it can stay pretty isolated and not get all clustered up with this line of storms, and it may already be clustered enough, congealed into this line of storms, but if it could stay a little isolated here, then we could get hail in Tulsa. Right now, if it stays pretty congealed like this, then what we're watching for in Tulsa is going to be that smaller hail, quarter to $half size. But is there a chance we could get a few ping pong golf balls in there? I think that's absolutely possible. But yes, I would choose Tulsa over Kansas City tonight. A few storms popping up near Wichita. None of it's severe. We're not done quite yet. I would still keep an eye on these storms farther back to the west to coming into Wichita. Let's check our temperatures. We're at 48 out in Wichita, 58 in Ponca City, still holding strong at 72 in both Tulsa and Oklahoma City. It's still really warm out there in Tulsa and in OKC. What about your wind? This is my favorite game. If you ever watched me a few years ago on Facebook Live, or sometimes we still play it every now and then, we play the game Spot the Front. Can you do it? Where's the front at? I gave you guys enough time. Did you get it? Where's the front? So you look for where these winds are turning, and you look for where they start to kind of like run into each other. Okay, so you've got your north wind up here, you've got your south wind down here. So where would the front be? Right here, right near Stillwater. What is this? Guthrie? Maybe south of Guthrie. Just to the north of Oklahoma City right now, to the north paralleling I-40, or maybe just crossing over I-40. And then you get into dry line territory. Ooh, we've got one warned in Kansas, just outside of Winfield, Kansas. This is probably warned for quarter-size hail. Yep, that's right. That's what the National Weather Service says. It says quarter-size hail. Got another one out in Missouri, just to the south of Kansas City, out in Pleasant Hill. We've already had quarter-size hail reported from this storm right here in Harrisonville. So again, this is just south of KC. But I do think KC is just about done for that severe risk tonight. We could have another round in Kansas City later on tonight, but that risk here is probably what we're seeing here with all of these storms here, is going to be pretty low for severe weather. I think it's going to be a low severe risk. Jake asks, ETA for hail in Tulsa. So I'd give it about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to approach the Tulsa metro. Let's see right here. So I'm looking on my radar scope. South Tulsa may be what has a better chance, maybe an area that has a better chance for these severe storms. These storms are still about 80 miles out from Tulsa right now, Tulsa proper, about 70 to 80 miles out right now. And if you think about these storms moving at 45 miles an hour, got little under 2 hours. So what did I say earlier, about an hour, hour and a half until storms arrive? I think the timeline that I gave earlier was midnight to 3 a.m. I'm still sticking with that timeline, midnight to 3 a.m. for Tulsa. Colin says the Omadome was working overtime today. Is that a reference to Omaha? Like repelling all the storms today, all that severe weather going south? It's funny, the Omadome. Here's a picture coming out of the Oklahoma City Metro. We can go back to some of our pictures here that we were showing earlier. Here we go. So this one posted by Kyle Cook on Twitter says Southwest and Sarah has some pretty decent hail. Got some others. Let's see, what other ones do we have? These are smaller stones. This one, quarter size, out in Mustang. But out in Mustang, we did get some larger hailstones. This one in Catherine. Ooh, there's some good ones. This is posted by Catherine out in, she says, Sarah Road and Southwest 44th in Oklahoma City. So that would be, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that would be Mustang, which is just to the southwest of Oklahoma City by maybe about 20 minutes, maybe less than that. And so we did get one report of ping pong ball size hail, and we're getting a lot more reports now. Ping pong ball size hail in Mustang, just to the southwest of Oklahoma City. There's that storm that produced that large hail that I just showed you guys. And then we saw this track on the west side of the city. You know, it kind of went in and out of some large hail every now and then, but it did seem to dwindle, and it does look like it's weakening now. So as this goes up to Edmond, yeah, it weakened quite a bit, making its way into Edmond here. Not even severe warned anymore. Now down to the south, we got golf ball size hail in Purcell, ping pong ball size hail in Maysville. These storms are now crossing I-35 near Pauls Valley right now. Still warned for quarter size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds. This is what we call marginal storms. Marginally severe, just barely over that severe threshold. Severe threshold is quarter size hail and 58-mile-per-hour wind speeds. So if we can get over that severe threshold, that's what we call marginally severe. Now this one, near Marshall, Covington, Garber, Douglas. Do we have an actual city here? No, we don't. This is not a very populated area of Oklahoma. This is warned for golf ball size hail, and it looks like it was confirmed hail at some point. Just outside of Enid, Oklahoma. What other questions do we have here? I'll read some of y'all's questions. Another question about Northwest Arkansas and Springfield, Missouri. Bonham, Texas Kansas City. Okay, we've got a few cities that we'll go through the forecast for. So Bonham, Texas is the closest from where these storms are right now. Nothing is severe warned to the north of Dallas anymore. I'm actually kind of surprised that we lost all of that. I always call it all of that oomph that a storm can give. I'm surprised that we lost all of that. Energy is the wrong word, but I guess strength in these storms would be a better word for it. I'm surprised that these storms are starting to weaken and fall apart so quickly. Anyway, but Bonham, Texas, you can see it on the map right here. Make sure that you guys can see what I see. If I back these storms up a little bit, you're going to see that they're moving to the north and east. So going forward, these storms are moving to the north and east. And while they have fallen apart right now, and I think that that severe risk is going down for you all right now, what you're probably going to see in Bonham is what's hanging out in Louisville right now. So if you kind of draw a line, you can see that this is moving to the north and east. You may be on the northern side of what's going in Louisville right now, but eventually these storms will make it to you. Probably won't take too long, maybe over the next 30 minutes. So these storms are moving about, let's see, how fast are these storms moving? 35 miles an hour. There we go. Took me a minute, but I got there. So these storms are moving 35 miles an hour. Right now they're about, let's see how far away they are from you all. About 50 miles away from you. So yeah, give this maybe another hour and they'll be closer to you. If I look on radar scope, you have some rain a little bit closer to you. But yeah, for Bonham, I wouldn't be terribly worried about the severe risk. You may get some small hail out of this. Your wind risk is going to be very low and your tornado risk also very low. Northwest Arkansas, so we're going to flip over to the maps here, and I'm going to actually zoom right down in for our future radar to, what do we have on here? Arkansas, Kansas City, and I think that was it, right? Did I get all of them? And then we'll eventually get to Illinois. Alrighty. So we'll switch over here. Oops, not here. Here we go. And I'll show you, and we've also got a question about Springfield. Yep, Springfield. So here we are. Here's Springfield, right, in this area. And then there's Northwest Arkansas. Timeline here. Ooh, it's early tomorrow morning. So we're talking about 4 or 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low chance for Northwest Arkansas to get anything severe tomorrow morning. However, you will see some redevelopment by tomorrow afternoon, maybe a little bit later into the evening hours. So there's your redevelopment. And I'm really not too worried about Springfield here, but into the evening hours, you're going to see this line of storms that stretches all the way up from Chicago down into the northwestern side of Arkansas, even into the eastern side of Texas. And that's going to be your next chance for severe storms. So again, with Northwest Arkansas, early tomorrow morning, you may get some loud storms, but I'm not too terribly worried about the severe risk there. I would be a little bit more concerned with these storms starting around 5 p.m. and then continuing into 8 o'clock tomorrow. You're severe clear by 8. So that would be what I'd be watching for in Northwest Arkansas, 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And Springfield, early tomorrow morning, we're talking like 4 to 7 a.m. I think I saw on here, going back to Oklahoma here, I do want to go back to Oklahoma and talk about some of the things that we're seeing in Oklahoma real quick. Cody asked about Springfield, Missouri, so we just talked about Springfield, Missouri, talking about around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning to about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, with a low severe risk, but you could see some hail in there. I think that would be your biggest risk. 60-mile-per-hour wind and quarter-size hail. Alrighty, moving back over to our radar here. I do want to talk about this little area in Douglas. Someone had mentioned Stratford, and I don't see that. Matt Williams asked about Stratford with an area of rotation and a tornado tag. So I pulled up what, and I assume you're talking about Stratford, Oklahoma. That would be farther down to the south. So I'm watching this area of rotation right now. But if we go Stratford, Oklahoma, we may have to go down to the south here. Let's go over here. Give me just a minute to pull it up. Just outside of Ada. So if you guys are not familiar with Stratford, Oklahoma, it's just in between Pauls Valley and Ada. And I'll pull it up for you so that you can see it. So we've gone to the south of Oklahoma City now. So here's Oklahoma City. Going to the south, I'm giving you an idea of where you're looking at right now. So with these line of storms, whenever storms congeal into a line, as you see that they've done to the east of Oklahoma City here, what we're watching for these line of storms are little notches in the storms. And oftentimes with these little notches, you can get these spin-up tornadoes. Now, a spin-up tornado does not mean that it's a weak tornado. It means that it can happen very fast. So what I've done is I've put a 4-panel here on our radar that we're looking at. And we can choose a lot of different things. If you've seen our lives before, then you know that we like storm relative velocity. That's what you see up here on the upper right. You know that we like VIL, V-I-L, or maybe even this V-I-L-D to show you potential hail. This isn't always accurate. It's not a great indicator of hail, but it's a good, gives you kind of a good idea right off the bat. And then I like correlation coefficient as well. Now for your tornado risk, I'm not terribly impressed right now. I could see where they could be thinking that maybe you can see a spin-up tornado right here. It is difficult because we're quite a ways away from the radar. We absolutely have some strong wind with this. You can see some strong wind right up here. You can see some more strong wind coming into Stratford right now. But yeah, what they're watching for with this are those little notches in the radar. And what this is warned for is ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts moving to the east at 35 miles an hour. We do have some larger hail down in Texas. I'll go down to Texas next. And I also want to go up to northern Oklahoma once again. So we'll go up to northern Oklahoma, then we'll go down to Texas because I do want to show you, and I was here earlier, but I want to go back here. my radars. What are they doing? This is where I'm going to go. There we go. Okay, here's what I want to go to. So this is northern Oklahoma. Here's Oklahoma City. We're going to go up I-35 here, just outside of 35. Perry is on I-35 to Covington, and this is warned for golf ball size hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So a little bit more impressive here. 1.75 inches for golf ball size hail. Right here is what we're watching for that hail, right in here. And you probably got some high wind in here as well. Not a ton, not a very wide area of high wind, but you probably got some high wind in here as well. So again, this is in northern Oklahoma, in between Enid and Perry. This is where we're seeing some pretty decent hail size. And then if we go down to Texas, and I'll actually switch over to, yeah, this is perfect. This is what I want. Large hail moving into Walnut Springs right now, Meridian, Morgan, golf ball size hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts moving into this area as well. Walnut Springs, Meridian, Morgan, most likely seeing some pretty large hail sizes. Other than that, DFW is severe clear. Here's what we're watching for a potential spin up right here in Stratford, Oklahoma, moving into Ada right now. And then we've got probably some 60 mile per hour wind gusts out to the west. And what is this warned for? Quarter size hail. Yeah, not terribly concerned with these storms that are just to the west of the city. They'll probably come into the city, so you'll have another chance to get hail in the city again, but I'm really not terribly concerned with these storms as much as I am with these other storms that are a little bit more isolated up near Enid and Perry, and then down to the south into Purcell. I think these are a little bit more impressive. So I'm just going over the last 4 hours here, showing you what we've seen over the last 4 hours. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning going in just to the north of Ada here. This is one that we've been watching and talking about for ping pong ball sized hail moving to the east at 35 miles an hour. So what this is telling me is that these storms are sustaining their strength as they're moving to the east. So I do think that these storms will be still pretty strong as we move into Ada, Seminole, Okemah, Holdenville, Allen over the next hour. However, what we may be missing out on is Tulsa. We've got those storms up to the north. We've got those storms down to the south, but right in the middle, right along the Turner Turnpike, we are really struggling. These storms are not holding together at all. I mean, right along the Turnpike, they are just falling apart, which I think is very interesting. So we'll have to see what these storms do coming out of Shawnee. Could they make it to Tulsa? Could they make it to Coweta? Great question. I don't know. We'll see. It looks like these storms farther back to the west have weakened significantly enough not to have any warnings on them anymore. So these storms out in Hinton to Kingfisher have weakened pretty significantly. Still some of these more isolated storms, you can see that this is congealed into a line. This is a little bit more isolated, still sustaining its strength. So could this be what is to come for Winfield later on? It's a great question. Our warnings are dropping off now. Is the National Weather Service canceling all of those warnings? There is a low tornado threat here, and I'm just wondering what this is going to do for our hail risk in Tulsa tonight. It does look like that hail risk seems to be going down for Tulsa. Kansas City, pretty low risk. I think that the biggest hail risk has come and gone. We got 1 inch size hail down in Harrisonville, so not far from the city. And then we also got a 1-inch size hail report just to the north of Kansas City, in between St. Joe and KC. So you got bookended by some quarter size hail, one to the north, one to the south of the city there. East Texas. I think the best chance for East Texas to get hail will be tomorrow, and that'll be tomorrow evening. Dallas, Texas area, Frisco, Plano, Allen, McKinney, pretty low chance for severe storms right now. However, earlier you did get ping pong ball size hail in Hazlet. Haslett? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. That's just to the north of Fort Worth. So you did get that large hail earlier. It looks like right now that hail risk is going down, so it's going to be a low risk anywhere from Denton to the Colony. As these storms go into McKinney, they may be loud, but that hail risk is very, very low. Wichita, Kansas, also a low risk. Yeah, it just looks like these storms have really, really dissipated here. Will they stay weak through the overnight hours? I think that's a great question. But it is 11 o'clock, and I'll tell you something. We are tracking storms tomorrow morning as well. I love this comment. I was going to sign off, but I love this comment here. I just have to acknowledge this great comment right now. Metaphysics 101 says, if there isn't any hail in Tulsa tonight, the silver lining is my tea time is still good. I love that. We went golfing today, and it was absolutely gorgeous today. Now, I will tell you, it's going to be a little bit cooler tomorrow. So you may need a pullover or a light jacket tomorrow. It depends on what time your tea time is. If it's early in the morning, you may need an actual sweatshirt or a jacket. Hey, new thunderstorm report. New thunderstorm warning going into McKinney, Texas. Who asked about that earlier? Dale? Dale, I must have spoken too soon because it's not terribly impressive. $half size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It is not terribly impressive. However, it's coming out of the Colony, headed into Frisco. Allen is in the middle of this as well. McKinney, also in the middle of this severe thunderstorm warning. We'll see how long this holds together. I was about to sign off and say, see you tomorrow, because we have another risk tomorrow, but I'll stay on here until we get through this severe thunderstorm warning in Allen, Texas, coming out of the Colony right now, going into Allen, moving into McKinney, warned for $half size hail. Is that what I said earlier? Yeah, $half size hail. Alrighty. Let's switch on over to our 4-panel here. Dallas, Fort Worth, and I can actually add another one here. I'll go to this terminal DFW radar. There you go. So I'll pull some. Oh, it's not great. It's not a great view of the storm. But I'll pull some different products in here. I don't like this view very much. Maybe we should go back over to our other radar. So that was terminal. This is KFWS. Maybe we should switch over to terminal DAL. Do we think that would be a better view of this storm? Oh yeah, much better view. This hail does not look very promising here. It does not look impressive to me. So what you're looking at here is the Fort Worth radar, but we could go over to the Dallas terminal radar to get a different view here. And it doesn't look very promising to me. Actually, something that I like to do in these situations are what we can do is we can show you a 3D view of the storm. And I want to try one more time with this. I want to go like right here. So what we're watching for here are some of these elevated cloud tops, you know, what's happening inside of the storm. Oh, you guys can't see that. Oh man. Let me see if I can switch over. There you go. Okay, now you can see what I'm looking at. So what we're looking for is, I think, right, yeah, in here, that's where we're going to see the hail form. And I love this type of view from these storms. I mean, the radar does a really good job with this. Let's see, what are we looking at here? Switch back over. So we were looking right in, oh, nope, I don't want to do that again. Right in here would be where we're looking for some of those largest hail sizes. Right where that red square is. So this is sometimes why you can't trust your VIL, your VIL, that you can see all of these blues highlighted right in here, because some people will say, okay, the largest hail is right in here, but if you go just a little bit to the north, that's where I think you may be seeing that largest hail. We can hop back over to other radar because I would like to see correlation coefficient. So with correlation coefficient, you may hear us refer to that as CC. There we go. Dropping out right around here where that red square is. So maybe the largest hailstone's coming into Frisco, Texas right now. Right there. But again, this is moving into McKinney, Allen, pretty populated area right in here. Lots of houses over here. We'll watch and see if we can get any reports out of this. Let's see if anyone's on Twitter reporting about this. I know we have a ton of people watching on Twitter right now. And now I know that you can't comment on Twitter that I can see, but if you are watching on Twitter and you want to send us your hail pictures, we have our messages open. And so we can see your messages. So we appreciate you sending in your messages. I know there's a lot of people watching on Twitter right now. Let's see. A few on YouTube, a few on Facebook, but most of our views right now are on Twitter. And I know you can't send your messages on Twitter, so if you want to hop over to YouTube or Facebook, you can always send in your messages over there and ask us questions. That's where we've been getting a lot of our questions from, our YouTube and on Facebook. And you can even send in questions on LinkedIn. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but we are live streaming on LinkedIn right now as well. Alrighty, let's see. The colony. Let's see if there's any hail pictures coming out of the colony. We do have a hail report. Quarter size hail just to the south of Frisco. Where did I say earlier that we were watching for the largest hail? Right here, right? And where is that hail report? Ooh, in that exact area that I was looking at. Alrighty, we'll switch over and I'll show you exactly what I'm seeing right now. There you go. So there's your hail report, quarter size hail, just to the south of Little Elm, in between Little Elm and the Colony, and then just to the south of Frisco, Texas. Collin, Texas, I think is exactly where the National Weather Service put this. We did see half-dollar size hail a little bit earlier on. Oops, bring that back. In Louisville, so just slightly larger than the size of a quarter. Out in Louisville. What other questions do we have? I don't see any hail reports out of the colony yet, but let's try Louisville. Don't see any reports out here either. And I'm looking for more hail reports here on Twitter. And while I do that, I'll show you a little round the radar here. I like to play a round the radar. Cleburne, Meridian, Cranfills, Gap, Jonesboro, all included in the severe thunderstorm warning for ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It looks like just to the south of Dallas, still holding strong for some of those larger hailstones up to the size of a ping pong ball. You go up into Oklahoma, and you've got two severe thunderstorm warned storms right now. So we've got Asher, Kanawha, Maud, all included in this severe thunderstorm warning, also for ping pong ball size hail. And these storms about to cross I-35 into Perry, Sumner, Red Rock, Oklahoma. Quarter size hail is what this is warned for. It's up in Covington, Oklahoma right now. This is something that will go into the southeastern side of Kansas, but I know a lot of people have been asking about Kansas City. Still a low risk for Kansas City right now. Tulsa, we're getting a little bit closer to seeing those storms come into Tulsa. It's a pretty low risk right now for hail. However, it doesn't mean that you can't see one of these storms intensify and pop up some hail in Tulsa. I'm not ruling out that chance yet. I mean, look what we saw in Texas, just to the south of Dallas earlier. No warning. These storms were pretty unimpressive earlier. All of a sudden, it intensified, popped up a few small hailstones, size of a $50, the size of a quarter, and then now we have a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're not ruling that out for that to happen in Tulsa as well. I still think that that's a possibility in Tulsa. So there's your line of storms right now, anywhere from, let's see, what's your farthest south? Hamilton, Texas, all the way into northern Oklahoma. Do we have anything warned in Kansas? We have one lone severe thunderstorm warning, the warning that could, out in Missouri right now, just to the east of, let's see, Pleasant Hill, going into Warrensburg, excuse me. Ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So Kansas City, that's one area that we said we could see some large hail tonight. I know that Kansas City itself did not get hail. However, we got hail up to the north, we got hail down to the south, and now we even have hail moving into the central portion of Missouri. So I think that we were pretty accurate on our guess for Kansas City tonight. Our guess, a forecast. There's no guessing here. There's models, there's math, there's all kinds of meteorology and science that goes into this. There's no guessing here. I mean, maybe sometimes. Most of the time, not a ton of guessing. see, what other questions do we have? Michael asked, can I show Dallas? Yeah, so this may have been earlier that you asked that. This is just outside of Dallas. Here's Dallas on the far side of your screen. Just making sure that you can see what I see. Yep, here's Dallas, the far side of your screen, and then now in the middle of your screen, and then there's your thunderstorm warning. 60-mile-per-hour wind and half-dollar size hail is what this is warned for right now. And it's moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. This warning goes until 12:15. And I'm going to tell you guys, I have to get up really early tomorrow and track storms tomorrow. We've got a big, big day tomorrow for us. So I'm going to hop off of here in just a minute or two so that I can get in bed and be well rested for those storms tomorrow. So if you have any last minute questions, maybe I can get through maybe another question or two. And then we're going to hop off of here and we'll get ready for tomorrow. Now, I will tell you something that I did today is whenever I made that forecast today, I said, comment where you're watching from, and I'll give you your city by city forecast. And a lot of people commented Dallas, Kansas City, Iowa. We may do something similar to that tomorrow as well. So if you're looking for a very specific city that we didn't get to tonight, make sure that you tune in tomorrow. And during a noon forecast tomorrow, we may do the same thing and we'll be able to send you your city by city forecast. So we zoomed down into Oklahoma City today and we said we think storms are going to hit between about 9 and 11 tonight. And check it out, 9 to 11 o'clock, that's when storms hit. Here, I'll back this up just to prove that we were right on our forecast today. There's nothing better than being correct. This severe thunderstorm warning was actually for tennis ball size hail that went through Mustang. We saw some pretty decent hailstones out in Mustang. I'm retweeting some of them right now so you can go on there and see some of those pictures. And this severe thunderstorm warning it went until 10:15. So talk about, perfect timing. I said between 9 and 11 o'clock. And by about 11 o'clock, these storms cleared Oklahoma City. And then we have another line coming in behind this initial line of storms, but it does look like it's severe clear right now. So I think that we were pretty on point with our 9 to 11 o'clock timeline. What did I say for Dallas? Was I right for Dallas? I said 11 to 2 a.m. So storm started a little bit earlier than 11. So I could have gone maybe 10 to 2 a.m., especially because Dallas is so big. It's going to have a longer timeline than Oklahoma City is. Oklahoma City, we can say maybe about 3 hours. Dallas, maybe we needed to widen that a little bit larger to about 10 to 2 a.m. Either way, we were pretty close. It's 11:30 right now, and the storms, I think, are going to clear Dallas by about 2 a.m. So we were pretty close. Anyway, what I'm saying is that you can watch us tomorrow. Comment where you're watching from, and we'll try to get you a timeline. We can't do every place, but we did a lot of places today, and we got a lot of people those timelines out. So feel free to comment where you're watching from tomorrow. Jeremy says, I'm in Plano right now. It looks like the hail is to the north of me. I would say so. You have this little, and actually here, let me switch over to our Dallas radar because I think this is going to show a little bit more. Oh yeah, I like this view. Okay, let me switch over so that you can see what I'm seeing. So we have two different ways to look at these storms on our 4 panel here. This is our terminal radar right here, coming out of TDAL, terminal radar, starts with T. Here's Plano. So one area that I would keep an eye on back in Plano is this area right here that's moving into Plano right now. I don't know where exactly you are, but if you back this up just a little bit, right here, it's out of the warning, so maybe it's producing some small hail, maybe up to the size of a dime or maybe a nickel. However, I would keep an eye on this for potentially up to quarter-size hail. But the bulk of that hail is moving into McKinney right now, so we're talking Fairview, McKinney area. And then we can always look at our other radar. showing us just about the same thing. Is the bulk of that hail, the largest hail size right now. Actually, pretty impressive right here. Going into McKinney, just to the north of Allen, Texas, to the north of Plano. But I would watch this area right here for maybe some smaller hail. Quarter size or smaller. And another question coming in from YouTube, where do you expect the hail to hit tomorrow? So if we go back over to the graphics, we can go through tomorrow just a little bit here. And it depends on where you're watching from. Jordan asks, did the hail stop in southwest Oklahoma City? The map on the app shows it just stopping to the southwest side of the city. Yeah, southwest or western side of the city. I don't know how far they brought the hail swath up into the city, but I would say probably before or right around I-40 area. We have a phenomenal meteorologist on that right now. I think that Xander and Steve are mapping right now. We may have one other meteorologist mapping as well, and they do a really, really good job with radar analysis. So they are mapping the storm. Alrighty, let's talk about hail tomorrow. Jordan says Denver, but doing a lot of work in OKC. So we were talking about hail in southwestern Oklahoma City. But you're in Denver, but you do a lot of work in OKC. Well, welcome. Welcome to our city. Okay, we were talking about hail tomorrow. Here we go. And I also have your tornado risk as well for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, we're watching this line of storms that goes anywhere from Omaha all the way down to south of KC. And we've got a little severe thunderstorm warning out in Missouri right now. So yes, you could still get some hail from some of these storms. It's a really low risk, but it's possible. The better chance for those severe thunderstorms are going to be anywhere from central Texas all the way into Wichita and Tulsa through the overnight hours. But again, the later we go into the overnight, the lower that risk gets for hail. So what we see right now, maybe all that we get, we may see another warning or two. It just depends on how isolated these storms can stay. As we go into early tomorrow morning, we're going to be watching for places like St. Louis to get that next round of storms. So that's going to be by about 9 to noon tomorrow, maybe some redevelopment into the afternoon hours. Later in the afternoon, Chicago, all the way down into Memphis. By the late night hours, we're talking about 8 o'clock and even later, Memphis all the way into East Texas. So I know that we've had a lot of Texas people joining us tonight. So East Texas here is what we're watching for severe thunderstorms once again. So I think we had named Tyler, Texas earlier. Even Dallas is included in that risk once again tomorrow. It's going to be a late night event. Once again, after the sun goes down into the early morning hours on Monday. Do I think it's going to stick around for your morning commute? No, I think it's going to be cleared out by your morning commute. However, other people will still be getting storms by your morning commute. We're talking about not Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Central Tennessee, into the eastern side of Kentucky, into the Virginias, into our Gulf states, and by the rest of the day on Monday, it'll be an East Coast issue all the way out into Georgia, up to some of the New England states. I mean, you can even see New York is getting in some of the action here. I don't think that there will be anything severe in New York. However, heavy rain is definitely possible. So there's your timeline for tomorrow. We can go to that hail risk for tomorrow, tornado risk first. So that tornado risk is level 1 in Chicago. Oh, pull your cities back up here. Level 2 for those evening storms in St. Louis, not the morning storms. We're looking at the evening storms here. Little Rock, Shreveport, Jackson, Nashville, Cincinnati, all included on that severe risk for tomorrow. There's your tornado risk. What does the hatched area mean? this area that is hatched right here, that's those dashed lines, we call that hatched. That means that we could see strong tornadoes, EF2 or higher, in these areas that are hatched. Could be a tornado outbreak tomorrow. It's possible. Hail risk. I have it on here. Where is it? Is this it? Give it a minute. There we go. There's your hail risk for tomorrow. Pretty decent chance in the Texarkana area, southeastern Oklahoma, all the way up to Little Rock, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Nashville, Jackson, to see some large hail with these storms. Now, I'll show you something that we really watch for these storms, and I don't know what my timeline on this is. Let me check. Perfect. Okay, I like this. Let me load this back up here. Now, this is something that I do just about every day to determine your hail risk. Here's your hail model, highlighted here in yellow. The darker the orange, the darker the reds that you can see pop up in here is going to be your larger hail. And then, of course, you need a storm to get large hail, right? So if you see large hail in places like Dallas for early tomorrow morning, but there are no storms there, do you think you're going to get large hail? No, you need a storm. So we try to overlay your hail risk with your storm risk. So that's highlighted there in green and yellow. You guys know that. Very, very typical reflectivity, typical future radar that we show all the time. So here we are, Sunday at 3 o'clock. I know the time isn't on your map here, but I can see it just outside of the frame, and I actually may be able to show you all that as well. You can barely see it. You can see it here. Let me see if I can actually pull this. So this is our full screen. We don't usually show this, but I do want to show this for the timeline here. Okay, there you go. 3 o'clock, you can see the time right up here. 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So as we head into the evening hours, I think that will be the more concerning time for those larger hailstones. I'll give you an example. So what would I do whenever I look at Little Rock tomorrow? And it's hard to see here, I know that it is, but you can see that there's a chance for a few isolated storms, maybe some large hail from the southeastern side of Missouri all the way down into Little Rock. So I would say, okay, moderate risk for tomorrow. For that larger hailstone, we'll highlight that in red. And that's exactly what we had. We had that red golf ball to tennis ball size hailstone right in there. But if you go farther up to the north, where you're seeing those whites and those oranges that go into places like Cincinnati and Michigan, lower hail chance. Your hail sizes in this area are going to be smaller as you go farther up into the north into places like Cincinnati and Michigan. So this is what we do, and we overlay this and we go through and we look at each city and we go city by city. What do you think your timing is going to be? What do you think your hail risk is going to be? We look at more places, we look at more products than just this. Not just, like this product, but we look at lapse rates, which you can get on Pivotal Weather. We look at all kinds of different things. Either way, Cincinnati, tomorrow it looks like you're going to have a chance for some pretty small hail. So that's what we say. Nashville, larger hail. Into Little Rock, larger hail. So that's what we're watching for tomorrow. And that's how we end up making these risks that end up looking like this, because this is confusing. This is a lot more digestible, right? And so that's how we get those risks that we can put in place. We can talk about large hail sizes right in here, and then we can talk about the probability of actually getting that large hail. So that's how we get these maps. We go through a lot of data to get these maps. Alrighty, well, I am going to hop off of here and I'm going to get some rest before we start talking about storms once again for tomorrow. Where is my map? There's my map. Just one little recap of what we're seeing right now. We've got storms coming into McKinney as we speak, Allen as well. We've got 1-inch size hail is what's been reported so far. Got a few hail sizes, 1-inch size hail out in Meridian, 1-inch in Hamilton. So a few more warnings down to the south of Dallas here. One question about Tulsa. Could we still see storms in Tulsa? I think it's possible. I think it's a low risk. I'll give you an example. What we saw out of Dallas is we really thought that these storms were just about done in Dallas. I was saying, no, we're not going to see any more storms here. And then all of a sudden, this pulsed up right here. We got half-dollar size hail out of this storm in Dallas. I think if Tulsa sees anything, this will be what they see. Where like these storms right now are not terribly impressive, but could they pulse back up? It's possible. We've got about 30, 45 minutes until those storms do get to Tulsa. So I guess we'll find out here within the next hour if they'll pulse back up and produce something impressive. If not, then it was a bust for Tulsa tonight. I still think, I mean, obviously the National Weather Service also still thinks that there's a risk for Tulsa because we still have that tornado watch in place. I think that tornado warn or the tornado risk is going to be really, really low. That hail risk is going to be a little bit more impressive. So we'll see if these storms can pulse back up. I think it's possible to still get some hail in Tulsa tonight. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Yeah, I would take the risk down. I know I had that level 3 risk earlier today. I'd bring it down to about a 1.5. I think that risk for Tulsa is slowly going down. Anyway, Atoka, I'm interested in this storm. This may be the next warning that we see is down here in Clarita, Wapanaka, and Atoka. Let's see, we don't have a radar down here. So these storms are really difficult to see. But yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of hail with this. I wonder if the storm will get warned. I called it first. This will be the next warned storm. But again, if you can get these little isolated storms like this, they'll pulse up, they'll go severe. We'll get hail from this. If they stay in this little line like this, you're probably not getting any hail from that. I'd watch this one coming out of Pawnee and Hominy, maybe going into Chelsea, Foyle. We'll have to see how these storms interact with each other. Either way, I'm going to hop off of here and get ready for tomorrow. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you hopping on here and joining us for our live today. If you live out to the east, East Texas, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. What am I missing here? Alabama, Georgia. We will be covering it tomorrow. We have a big day ahead of us tomorrow. Another risk on Monday, another risk on Tuesday. Yes, up in Iowa. Another risk on Wednesday, once again, across the Mississippi, Tennessee, and Ohio Valley. So we have a very busy week ahead of us. As always, hit that follow button and we will keep you updated on what we expect to happen here across the U.S. We cover weather across the entire U.S. So have a fantastic Saturday night. Thanks for watching us on your Saturday night. We will see you back here tomorrow.